My husband brought home the illegitimate child he had with my best friend. I treated him as my own child and took personal care of all his matters. I raised him to become an exceptionally capable heir in the elite circles of Beijing. Later, he successfully inherited my husband's company but sent me to a mental hospital. Tell the doctor inside to take good care of me. My biological mother got into a car accident because of you. How could someone like you ever compare to my mom? My husband watched from the side, his expression one of relief. Qianqian, you've finally gotten your revenge. After being abused to death, I was reborn. Facing the child my husband brought home, I still smiled and said, "Don't worry, from now on he will be my son." I was reborn. Returning to the 5th year of my marriage with Qianqian, he brought back a little boy and said to me, "Wani, this is Qianqian's child. She drowned and passed away. Shall we adopt him?" In my previous life, I had a miscarriage that damaged my body, leaving me unable to conceive. Since Li Qian and I were friends, I agreed. In this life, as I looked closely at the child, I realized that his features were 70% similar to my husband's. This child wasn't Li Qian's with someone else. It was clearly Qin Tian's child with my good friend. Pretending not to know, I bent down and gently patted his head. "Don't worry, from now on he will be my son. What's your name, little one?" My voice was so gentle it could drip with tenderness. Seeing me for the first time, he looked at me cautiously and whispered, "Auntie, my name is Qin Xiao." My smile froze on my face, and Qin Tian quickly explained, "He originally had the surname Zhong, but I thought since we're adopting him, we might as well change it to my surname." I forced a smile again. "It's no problem, it's what I should do." In my previous life, after we got married, took over the company from me. Since the company headquarters was overseas, it took him 7 years to gradually shift the focus back to China, so the responsibility of taking care of fell on me. I remember in my previous life, after arrived, no matter how busy was, he would always spend at least 3 days in China every month. These past few days, he would take Qin Xiao out alone under the pretext of building their relationship. I thought he was afraid of growing distant from Qin Xiao. But I never imagined that Qin Tian was doing it for the sake of reuniting their family of 3, yet in this lifetime, he strangely trusts me a great deal. I have already taken meticulous care of Qin Xiao, buying him the best designer clothes, having his food airshipped from abroad on the same day, and even hiring renowned teachers to give him early education. Qin Tian was very moved. That night, he held my hand and gently tried to lead me to the bed. We've been married for 5 years. And I always thought he had a cold personality. The last time he was this affectionate was 2 years ago. That night, he was extremely passionate in bed, and I couldn't bring myself to refuse. The next day, I was in so much pain that I couldn't get out of bed. What hurt even more than that night was that I had a miscarriage. Qin Tian quickly rushed me to the hospital, where the doctor shook his head and told me that my body was injured, and I might not be able to get pregnant. Qin Tian knelt in front of me, slapping himself repeatedly, saying it was all his fault for being too rough. At the time, I felt that I was also somewhat to blame for not realizing I was pregnant. Moreover, Qin Tian was the only son, and he treated me very well. I didn't want to divorce him, and I didn't want their family line to end with me, so I took in Qin Xiao, whom he brought back, as my own child and devoted myself wholeheartedly to raising him. Yet all the love I gave only paved the way for my own destruction. In this lifetime, the mere sight of Qin Tian disgusts me, let alone engaging in intimate acts. Qin Tian, however, grew more interested, his hand slowly moving up along mine. I broke out in goosebumps. He chuckled softly, "Wani, are you this sensitive?" I looked up, my face flushed with embarrassment. "I'll go get that." I opened the drawer and took out a box of expired Okamoto 01, accidentally knocking something to the floor. Qin Tian's gaze followed, and his expression slightly changed. The bracelet that fell out of the drawer was one that Li Qian had previously given to Qin Tian. Li Qian is a financially disadvantaged student our family sponsors. Ever since she was admitted to a university in our city, we've been meeting frequently, and over time, we became good friends. I remember seeing the saying "beware of fire, theft, and your best friend" online before, and I jokingly said, "Let's make sure we don't fall for the same man. I definitely won't give him up for you. My family is wealthy, very wealthy. I've never had to give up anything for anyone, and that includes men." Li Qian is beautiful, and Qin Tian is also talented and handsome. Usually when they meet, the two of them don't communicate much. At the wedding, Qin Tian even joked about letting Li Qian get together with one of the groomsmen at our wedding. I always thought it was absolutely impossible for them. But who knew they had a child behind my back who is already 4 years old, and we have only been married for 5 years. After I got married, Li Qian said she wanted to return to the countryside to help develop rural areas. Gradually, we lost contact. Who would have thought that Qin Tian would take Li Qian abroad? Abroad, Li Qian accompanied him through romantic and carefree times, while at home, I took care of the family and children for him. In my previous life, when he returned to China and took Qin Xiao out without letting me join, it was all because Li Qian was there too. The three of them were reuniting as a family. How could I, an outsider, intrude? He truly has a perfect life. Li Qian said that after returning to the countryside, Qin Tian and I mentioned Li Qian even less. She had previously gone to the temple and bought many bracelets, 2 of which she gave to Qin Tian and me. I never saw Qin Tian wear his, it was always kept in a drawer. I intentionally dropped the bracelet on the floor, and it was indeed very effective. I picked up the bracelet, examined it carefully in my hand, and said softly, "Oh, this is the bracelet Li Qian gave you, isn't it? It's a pity that the one she gave me was accidentally broken by me." I raised the bracelet towards Qin Tian and said, "Honey, Li Qian said it was blessed at the temple. Why aren't you wearing it?" Qin Tian straightened up, avoiding eye contact, and replied, "Men in the business world should wear watches, right?" I looked puzzled and said, "Really, but I've seen many clients wearing sandalwood bracelets." He seemed guilty and added, "Even so, I should wear the one you got for me. What's the deal with wearing something someone else gave me?" "All right," I pouted. Qin Tian lost interest, suddenly stood up and left with a sentence, "I just remembered I still have some documents to finish. You should rest first." Then he strode away. I watched his hurried footsteps, my gaze turning cold. "It's okay, he's going abroad soon." Before he left, he kissed my forehead and said, "Wani, you've always been a top student since childhood and have learned business from your family. It's Qin Xiao's good fortune to have you teach him." I smiled sweetly and said, "Don't worry. You handle the external affairs, and I'll take care of the internal ones." Unlike the previous life, he didn't give me detailed instructions this time. He was very confident in me, only said one sentence, and then told Qin Xiao to listen to me more before picking up his suitcase and turning to leave. According to the trajectory of the previous life, it would take Qin Tian another 5 years to fully shift his focus back to the country. During these 5 years, I will be the sole master of the household, with the Jiang family backing me up. Dealing with a child would be overkill, making Qin Xiao fall ill or have some kind of accident. As long as I arrange it well, no one would suspect me. Even if Qin Tian returns in the future, he wouldn't be able to openly trouble me over an adopted son without any evidence. Qin Xiao's soft little hand suddenly touched me. I looked down. The 4-year-old only reached my thigh. And now he was cautiously trying to take my hand. With his big, dewy eyes like a fawn's, he tentatively asked me, "Mom, can I take a day off today?" He called me Mom. For a moment, my heart softened. He completely took my hand. This very hand that, when I refused to go to the mental hospital and clung to the car door, he pried open finger by finger. He said to me, "How could someone like you ever compare to my mother?" The little hand was warm, but I couldn't help but shiver. I withdrew my hand and said gently, "If you don't want to study, then don't. Go play video games." Qin Xiao, who had been feeling a bit down because I withdrew my hand, immediately cheered up. As I watched his retreating figure, I thought maliciously, I can't possibly work tirelessly to accompany him through his studies like I did in my previous life, grooming him to become the top scorer in the college entrance exam. If he likes to play, then let him enjoy himself to the fullest. I had someone take him to the mall and told him to buy any toy he liked. I even bought him a PS5 and a Switch. This made him feel proud in front of his classmates. To maintain that sense of superiority, he would bring friends home every day to play games. Qin Xiao would play games until very late. And I didn't interfere. I only reminded him to go to bed around midnight. As a result, he would doze off in class during the day. The teacher called me to the school. "Ms. Qin Xiao, why is your child sleeping in class every day? Is he not getting enough rest at night?" With a gentle smile, I handed the teacher the Tiffany bracelet I had just bought. Teacher, you know our family's situation, we're well off, and Qin Xiao is going to inherit the company someday. He watches financial videos every night at home. Please take good care of him at school and make sure he doesn't get hurt. The teacher looked at the bracelet that would have taken several months of her salary to afford and said with a smile, "That makes sense. Qin Xiao is starting from a different place than the rest of us." I took Qin Xiao home. Seeing that I wasn't scolding him, he finally relaxed and then let go of my hand completely. The teacher didn't pay much attention to him either. As long as he wasn't bullied at school, to keep up appearances, I had people recommend gold medal instructors to me. No matter what the course was, as long as it was high-end, I enrolled him in it. Piano, violin, painting, dance, golf, horseback riding, everyone in the circle knew how much effort I put into this adopted child. In my previous life, I was sent to a mental hospital. Everyone knew exactly what was going on, but because Qin Tian had completely become a force of capital, even if they sympathized with me, they didn't dare to speak a word in my defense. Only Zhong Huai, the son of the nanny Zhong Ma whom I had supported, came to see me at the mental hospital. He believed me when I said I wasn't insane and helped me call the police. Unfortunately, no one dared to offend Qin Tian. I was still locked up in the mental hospital, where doctors and nurses tormented me day and night, forcing medication on me, administering electroshock therapy, and subjecting me to psychological abuse, until I truly lost my mind. Not only did Zhong Huai lose his job in the city, but he was also involved in a car accident that resulted in the amputation of both his legs. He was only 25 at the time, and already had no future. Thinking of these things, I feel immensely guilty. I found Nanny Zhong. Nanny Zhong, do you have a son in high school? If you're willing, let him recognize me as his godmother. I'll cover all his living expenses from now on, and I'll also send him to the best schools for his education. Qin Xiao, spoiled by my constant indulgence, didn't know how to restrain himself even in front of teachers. His reputation as someone beyond help spread, and gradually, teachers became reluctant to teach him, fearing it would tarnish their own reputations. Qin Tian sent a WeChat message asking about Qin Xiao's studies. I took a photo of Qin Xiao's back as he was reading a manga and sent it to him. The child is diligent and hardworking, so you can rest assured. I also bought him his favorite little cakes and snacks every day. I made sure he had plenty of meat and fish every day. Children grow up fast. By the time he was 8 years old, he had already reached my chest, and both his height and weight surpassed those of his peers. Every time Qin Tian was about to come back, I would tell Qin Xiao not to tell his dad that he could play games at home. Otherwise he wouldn't be able to play anymore in the future. Qin Xiao now trusts me wholeheartedly and hasn't mentioned any of this in front of Qin Tian at all. I hired a detective to follow them after Qin Tian took Qin Xiao out. The detective sent me many photos and videos of the three of them eating together, going to amusement parks, traveling, as well as recordings of their conversations. In the recording, Qin Xiao called Qin Tian dad and Li Qian mom. I haven't told anyone that Zhong Huai is my godson. I visit him whenever I have time. He has a tall and straight posture, and his every move exudes a noble air that ordinary people lack. And I suddenly learned that Qin Tian had already shifted the company's focus back to the domestic market. Qin Tian seemed to have a premonitory ability, achieving success wherever he went in the business world. Not only did he shift his focus to the domestic market, but he also secured several highly profitable projects. In the previous life, it took 6 years to accomplish this. But in this life, it was completed so early. He instantly became a hot topic in the circle, with many clients rushing to collaborate. However, in the previous life, Qin Tian only managed to secure a few important domestic projects with the help of my brother. I never expected this life to be different from the last one. I took Qin Xiao to the airport to pick him up. We arrived at the airport and waited for over half an hour, but there was no sign of him. He didn't answer my calls. So I had to call his assistant. "What time is Qin Tian's flight? I don't see him anywhere." His assistant quickly said, "Madam, President Qin said he had something to attend to and left directly after getting off the plane." Strange, the company matters have already been handled. Why didn't he come home first? Where did he go? Could it be that he doesn't miss Qin Xiao? In the evening, Qin Tian's friends held a celebration party for him. when Qin Tian returned. He was completely drunk and reeked of alcohol. Qianqian, I'm sorry, I have money now, but I still can't, hic. He looked at me dazedly and was about to lunge forward. I quickly stepped aside. Qin Tian couldn't stop in time, fell onto the sofa, and vomited into the trash can. I hurriedly pulled Qin Xiao over. Xiao Xiao, it's been a long time since you've seen your dad, he must miss you a lot. Go talk to him quickly. Qin Xiao looked at Qin Tian with some disdain, frowning at me. Clearly not wanting to go over, I spoke to him gently. You're not a little kid anymore, you're a big child now. You need to be considerate of your dad, he works very hard to earn money. I handed him the hangover soup and said, make your dad drink this, or he'll feel terrible. After Qin Tian finished throwing up, his mind cleared up, and he recognized people again. Looking at his son whom he hadn't seen for half a year, he called out, Xiao Xiao. Qin Xiao wore an impatient expression and took a few steps forward, but just as he approached Qin Tian, he suddenly threw the bowl. Dad, you smell so bad. Qin Xiao has been spoiled by me beyond measure, the slightest dissatisfaction and he refuses to serve. In fact, I also find it smelly. Faced with Qin Tian's disappointed look, I quickly said, honey, don't overthink it, the child is still young, let me go teach him. I quickly slipped away. I was afraid I couldn't hold back my laughter. Being spoken to like that by the son he considered his pride and joy, Qin Tian must have been deeply hurt. Early the next morning, I called Qin Xiao out. Seeing Qin Tian already seated at the dining table, Qin Xiao hesitated for a long time before reluctantly uttering the word dad. In an effort to quickly build a closer relationship with him, Qin Tian personally helped Qin Xiao with his homework that evening. Before long, deafening roars came from the study. Indeed, no one can stay sane while tutoring their child with homework, especially when dealing with a poor student like Qin Xiao in this lifetime. Your handwriting is missing strokes all over the place, you can't write so many characters, and you can't even do multiplication. How have you been studying, then? Qin Xiao burst into loud sobs inside the room. I rushed in anxiously, pulling Qin Xiao into my arms with a heart full of concern. The child is still young, why are you yelling at him? Just teach him patiently. Qin Tian was furious. He's already 8 years old, still young. How can you be a mother like this? Didn't you tell me to rest assured? Qin Xiao was terrified, but he had a close relationship with me and saw me as his best friend. He couldn't stand anyone shouting at me, so he pushed Qin Tian with all his might. What are you yelling about? You never cared for me since I was a child. It was always my mom who took care of me, and now you're yelling at her too. Oh. So in this life, you finally know how to stand up for me. But I suspect he yelled at Qin Tian not to defend me, but because he's been spoiled and can't stand anyone scolding him. Before, when Qin Tian brought Li Qian back, it was mostly to build a relationship so that Qin Xiao wouldn't feel too unfamiliar with them. So I imagine they probably indulged Qin Xiao and agreed to whatever he wanted. That's why they never noticed Qin Xiao's true temperament. Qin Tian looked at Qin Xiao in disbelief. A storm brewing in his eyes, I quickly pushed Qin Xiao out and tried to explain to Qin Tian in a gentle tone. Xiao Xiao is smart, he just can't sit still. As long as he puts his mind to it, studying will be a piece of cake for him. Now that he's successful, his temper has grown quite a bit too. He scolded me mercilessly. Jiang Guani, you're not taking him seriously just because he's not your biological son, are you? I widened my eyes and glared at him angrily. Qin Tian. What do you mean by that? I'm taking care of the child at home all by myself, and not only do you not appreciate me, but you also slander me like this. Go ask around in our circle and see how much I, Jiang Guani, have sacrificed for Qin Xiao. Seeing me cry, Qin Tian softened his expression and reached out to wipe my tears. I covered my face and turned to run. Qin Xiao, standing outside the door, saw that Qin Tian had scolded me to tears. He rushed in like a whirlwind and started punching and kicking Qin Tian. Why did you have to come back? As soon as you're back, my mom starts crying. Why didn't you just die out there? I waited outside for a while, and when I heard Qin Tian react and was about to take action against Qin Xiao, I rushed in and held Qin Xiao in my arms. Qin Tian, what are you doing? Do you want to lay a hand on the child? If you don't care about Xiao Xiao, I do. Xiao Xiao, let's go. We're going to your grandfather's house. With that, I carried Qin Xiao and rushed out of the house. In the car, Seeing Qin Xiao in the passenger seat crying with tears and snot all over his face, I almost couldn't help but laugh. In my previous life, they, father and son, teamed up to deceive and hurt me. In this life, my first step is to make them turn against each other, to make Qin Xiao despise his father. In the car, Qin Tian kept calling me, but I didn't answer any of them. By the time we arrived at my dad's place, I was having a late-night snack with Qin Xiao when he showed up. Wani, about what happened this afternoon, I was impulsive and misunderstood you. Please forgive me. I burst into tears, crying my heart out. If you don't believe me, then let's get a divorce. The child can choose whoever they want to live with. Qin Tian and I have been married for so many years, and the company was handed over from me. If he divorces me at this point, it won't just damage his reputation in the industry. If things escalate, even the stock price could fall. He's a businessman, always weighing the pros and cons. He would never agree to it. Seeing that I had no intention of forgiving him, Qin Tian said a few insincere words and then left. The next day, he came to my parents' house with bags of gifts, saying nice things to my mom and dad, trying to convince me to go back home. Of course, I wasn't planning to stay at my dad's place forever. I still wanted to make him suffer, so after he apologized, I took Qin Xiao and went back home. Qin Tian came back. Every day after finishing work at the company, he would help Qin Xiao with his homework. Unfortunately, Qin Xiao had already passed the best age for developing good habits. Plus, he was used to being indulged, so whenever he saw a book, he would either doze off or lose focus. Qin Tian was so angry that he smashed Qin Xiao's game console and tore up his comic books. He then took out a feather duster and whipped Qin Xiao fiercely. To prevent me from protecting Qin Xiao, he locked the door from the inside. Do you know you're the top scorer in the college entrance exam? You're supposed to take over my company in the future. How could you not even know multiplication and division? These words burst out from Qin Tian in a fit of rage. While I was eating fruit outside and anxiously knocking on the door, my heart skipped a beat. It seems I'm not the only one blessed with the good fortune of rebirth. But why does a scumbag like Qin Tian deserve it? In my previous life, Qin Xiao, under my careful guidance, did indeed become the top scorer in the college entrance examination. He was clever, articulate, studied abroad, and eventually returned to take over the company that Qin Tian had already paved the way for, which could be considered reaching the peak of his life. In this life, he only knows how to play games and is lazy and gluttonous. I'm afraid he won't even be able to get into a good high school. I thought of some other things. Qin Tian is so confident in letting me raise Qin Xiao. In this life, why is Qin Tian, who needed my brother's help everywhere in his previous life, so successful in the business world? With his experience from the previous life in the business world, he could understand both himself and his opponents, foresee industry trends, and thus accomplished 6 years' worth of work in just 4 years. He even had the audacity to expect me to groom his son into the top scorer in the college entrance exams. If he ever found out about my rebirth and guessed that I'm seeking revenge, his first move would be to eliminate me. Qin Tian is now the industry leader, and there are plenty of people eager to curry favor with him. If he wanted to do something to me, he has plenty of ways and means. Qin Xiao, wearing only his underwear, lay face down on the bed wailing. As soon as he came back, he hit me. He doesn't love me at all. Why did he come back? I hate him. I hate him so much. Mom, you should divorce him. I'll go with you. Sure. I quickly covered his mouth. Don't speak recklessly. Your father is the absolute authority at the company. If you provoke him, be careful. He might really beat you to death, and I won't be able to stop him. Qin Xiao reluctantly closed his mouth. My heart ached as tears streamed down my face one after another. Poor child. He shouldn't beat you like this just because you're not his biological son. But Qin Xiao knew that he was indeed the biological son. Qin Tian was his biological father, yet he showed no mercy towards him. Qin Xiao's gaze was icy, filled with obvious hatred. He was always an ungrateful wretch, holding grudges and forgetting kindness. Mom, you are my real mother. If he hits me again, you have to help me. Mom, I said, Xiao Xiao, you are my own son. Who else would I protect if not you? Qin Xiao and I were sobbing over here, over there. Qin Tian and Li Qian were passionately entangled. The next day, Qin Tian came back and said to me, "Do you remember your old friend Li Qian?" I suddenly looked up at him. Unable to understand why he suddenly brought up Li Qian, suppressing the malice in my heart, I frowned and said, "Of course I remember. Didn't she pass away? Why are you suddenly mentioning her? She didn't die. That year, she fell into the water in the countryside and was swept downstream. She became a vegetable and never woke up. A few days ago, her family sent her to Jing City General Hospital, and she actually woke up. She asked me to help her find a job. I remember she used to be your schoolmate, and her grades were excellent, the kind that won scholarships every year. How about having her tutor Xiao Xiao? Since you two are good friends, you'd feel more at ease using her." I widened my eyes in surprise. Could it be that Qin Tian suspects I've also been reborn and is testing me? I quickly asked, "What do you mean she didn't die? She just became a vegetable." After all, Qin Tian had been through the business world. And his words showed no trace of guilt or hesitation. He explained to me that when Qin Xiao was 3 years old, Li Qian was fighting floods in the countryside and got swept away by the water. The family searched for a long time but couldn't find her, so they had no choice but to send Qin Xiao to us to raise. Later, someone contacted the Li family and informed them that Li Qian had become a vegetable in a small hospital, with almost no one left to pay her medical bills. The Li family was poor, and using their money to treat Li Qian meant they couldn't afford to raise Qin Xiao, so they never told us about this matter. The explanation was full of holes, but I pretended not to understand and simply accepted whatever he said. I quickly suppressed the malice in my heart and smiled, saying, "Sure. When can she start?" "She can start working tomorrow. I want to see for myself whether Li Qian is truly still alive or if Qin Tian is just trying to deceive me." Seeing that I agreed, Qin Tian's face, which had been gloomy for days, finally showed a hint of a smile. "Wani, let's go to sleep." As he spoke, he tried to grab my hand. I quickly said I was on my period and refused him. I found it disgusting. Li Qian was indeed still alive, standing right in front of me. The reason Qin Tian didn't meet Qin Xiao and me on the day he returned to China was because he went to settle Li Qian. Li Qian was wearing a white dress with light makeup, radiating youthful energy. Who could tell she was a woman in her 30s? The breeze lifted the hem of her dress as she smiled charmingly. "Wani, long time no see." A surprised smile spread across my face as I immediately pulled her into a hug. "When I heard you had died, I was heartbroken for such a long time. I never expected you to be safe and sound. Surviving a great disaster surely means you'll be blessed with good fortune." Tears welled up in my eyes. It was exactly like the reunion of long-lost friends. Qin Tian stood nearby, watching us with a gentle smile. Li Qianxiao smiled even more happily, a flicker of pity and triumph in her eyes. "Yes, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Come in quickly." I pushed Qin Xiao forward. "Xiao Xiao, this is the impoverished student your mother sponsored back in the day, and also her good friend. You should call her Aunt Li." Whether it was the mention of the sponsored impoverished student or the title Aunt Li, something made Li Qianxiao uncomfortable, and her smile nearly faltered. Qin Xiao widened his eyes, his small head filled with big confusion, not understanding why the two mothers could meet, nor why he had to call his mother Aunt Li. Qin Tian immediately stepped forward to change the subject. "Qianqian has just recovered from a serious illness. You must be tired. Let's go inside quickly." Watching Qin Tian help Li Qian carry her bag, I suddenly understood why Li Qian had survived in this life. The problem lies with Qin Tian. Qin Tian was reborn, and he was reborn earlier than I was, until Li Qian was attacked by thugs abroad in the previous life. In this life, he took preventive measures and saved Li Qian in time. Qin Tian treated Li Qian like a treasure, letting her stay in the bedroom next to his study. He handled work in the study every night, and after I fell asleep, he would sneak from the study into Li Qian's room. I pretended not to know and swapped the milk they gave me every night, which was laced with sleeping pills, with Qin Xiao's milk. During the years I spent at home, everyone in the villa became my trusted confidants. And I also installed pinhole cameras in every room. After Li Qian arrived, she doted on Qin Xiao as if he were the apple of her eye. I suppose Qin Tian had privately warned her that it wasn't yet the right time for mother and son to be reunited. Apart from fooling around with Li Qian, Qin Tian was also very busy at other times. In his previous life, he lived a wretched existence, needing to rely on his son even to get back at me. In this life, with a chance to change his fate, How could he possibly let this opportunity slip by leveraging his understanding of industry trends and government policies? Qin Tian made his company thrive and prosper. I silently watched all of this and found it amusing. Go ahead, no matter how big you become, you still can't escape my grasp. For now, just consider him as someone working for me, because I won't let him live. That night, I didn't give Qin Xiao the milk with sleeping pills. After Li Qian and Qin Tian finished, Li Qian went to peek at Qin Xiao. It was already 3 a.m., and Qin Xiao was still hiding under the covers playing games. Li Qian was shocked and scolded him. Xiao Xiao, what time is it already? Why aren't you sleeping yet? You have class tomorrow. Upon hearing the noise, Qin Tian ran over to check and was so furious that he beat Qin Xiao again, even smashing his phone. Qin Xiao believed it was all Li Qian's fault. That Li Qian was the reason he got beaten. It's all your fault. Why did you have to say anything? Can't you stand to see me doing well? Are you happy that he hit me? Qin Xiao threw a tantrum. I hate you. You're not my mom at all. My mom is Jiang Guani. Get out of here. Li Qian also cried and made a scene. Qin Tian, what did you tell me? You said Jiang Guani is smart and capable, and that I could safely entrust Qin Xiao to her. Explain to me why Xiao Xiao is like this now. Tell me. I only said one thing to Xiao Xiao, and he thinks that woman is better than his own mother. You're not my real mom. I don't want you. Get out. I only want Mom Jiang. Qin Tian lowered his voice and growled, stop making noise. Jiang Guani is still at home. Sorry, Jiang Guani took sleeping pills and can't hear anything. The next day, Qin Tian bought me several limited edition bags, all of which required pre-orders and were hard for ordinary people to get. Guani, you've worked hard all these years. I bought a few bags for you. I glanced at them. The styles aren't nice, and I don't like the colors either. Give them to my parents, alright? Qin Tian held back his anger. He rarely spoke so humbly. Guani, your health has always been poor, and Qin Xiao is so immature, it's been tough for you to raise him. Now that Li Qian is still alive, and Qin Xiao is her biological son, let's return Qin Xiao to Li Qian. I widened my eyes, unable to accept it. Xiao Xiao has called me mom for so many years, and now you want me to give him back to Li Qian. Xiao Xiao has been used to a comfortable life since childhood, with Li Qian's family conditions. Can Xiao Xiao live well? Qin Tian persuaded. But after all, Xiao Xiao is Li Qian's biological son. Can you bear to separate them? If you miss Xiao Xiao in the future, I'll take you to see him. How about that? I actually don't care at all, but I still threw a tantrum and absolutely refused to agree. Saying that without Qin Xiao, I would be too bored at home alone. I hinted that Qin Tian should let me go to work at the company before I would agree. Qin Xiao, who had been playing games with his classmates downstairs, exploded when he heard the news. He stormed over and asked me, Mom, don't you want me anymore? I skillfully started to cry, a trick I learned from Li Qian. She said not to blink or move your eyes, and within a minute, your eyes would get sore and tears would fall. How could I possibly not want you, Xiao Xiao? But Li Qian is, after all, your biological mother, and Qin Tian also said that my health is poor, and taking care of you is too exhausting, so they want to send you away. All these years, it's just been the two of us depending on each other, and it breaks my heart too. I had always thought that Qin Xiao relied on me to some extent and didn't want to leave me, but his next words completely chilled my heart. My friend told me long ago that Li Qian's family is poor, and if I go back with her, I'll only have a hard life. They all said Li Qian's husband died, and if I go back with her, I can't call Qin Tian dad anymore, and they won't play with me in the future. Hair, tears streaming down my face. I said, it's okay. Qin Tian told me that even if Li Qian takes you back, you can call us godfather and godmother. That's not the same. Qin Xiao exclaimed loudly, Mom, you're the young lady of the capital's elite circle. What kind of person is Li Qian? How is she worthy of being my mother? These words happened to be heard by Li Qian, who had just entered. She had heard that Qin Xiao was back and rushed over excitedly to pick up her son, only to be met with a harsh blow that left her standing there in a daze. I quickly cleared my throat. Xiao Xiao, watch your language. Apologize to Qian right now. Qin Xiao sneered, walked up to Li Qian, and looked at her with disdain. Since you've heard it, let me tell you, don't even think about becoming my mother. You're not qualified. My mother can only be Jiang Guani, the princess of the capital's elite circle. Then he walked away with his head held high. I was dumbfounded. In this life, I did indeed spoil Qin Xiao and indulge his nature, but I thought that by interacting with children in our circle, he would at least learn some manners and upbringing. I never expected him to have learned even a little bit. But then again, everyone in the circle flatters Qin Tian, hoping he would spare them a glance, and they even encourage their own children to curry favor with Qin Xiao. How could someone who has never needed to lower their head ever learn manners and upbringing? But seeing Li Qian heartbroken, I was overjoyed. Upon hearing this, Qin Tian flew into a rage. He had someone hold Qin Xiao down, pulled out his belt, and gave him a fierce beating. A childhood without 7 wolves is an incomplete childhood. I thought Qin Xiao's childhood might have been lacking. But in the end, it seems it was made complete for him. Qin Xiao's behavior earlier had somewhat disgusted me, so seeing him get beaten brought me some satisfaction. Qin Xiao was not happy at all. He squirmed like a fat maggot, rolling on the ground, but being held down by 2 adults. He could only struggle in vain. Qin Tian cried and cursed. Li Qian also started crying and went to pull Qin Tian, begging him to stop hitting. I also joined in the act, pleading for Qin Xiao. However, this beating not only had no educational effect but also made Qin Xiao hate him and Li Qian even more. Qin Tian's face turned red with anger, and he pointed at him fiercely. You're already 13 years old, it's too late to start studying now. Starting tomorrow, you'll come with me to the company. I've spoiled Qin Xiao rotten. He's neither smart, patient, nor careful. He is simply not the right person to take over. Qin Tian taught him step by step, but Qin Xiao couldn't understand a thing. This made Qin Tian lose his temper, and he started hitting and scolding Qin Xiao. While many people in the company just watched the drama unfold, I think it's probably because I taught Qin Xiao too well in my previous life, which made Qin Tian's expectations too high, hoping his son would become a dragon. But Qin Xiao was not a good learner and had poor comprehension skills, so he couldn't understand many things. Even the legitimate heirs had to start from the bottom of the company. As soon as Qin Tian arrived, he explained his work to Qin Xiao. How could Qin Xiao possibly understand it? Because he had to take Qin Xiao along. Qin Tian was extremely busy every day. Tasks that could be completed in 10 minutes now took half an hour just to get Qin Xiao to barely grasp a fraction of it. As a result, Qin Tian had to work overtime until late every night and had to delegate some of the tasks to me. Over time, I ended up taking over most of the company's affairs, unfortunately. Even so, Qin Xiao still couldn't keep up with Qin Tian's guidance. In the office, Qin Tian actually slapped Qin Xiao across the face. Qin Xiao ran out of the company with a swollen, red face. Qin Xiao was young and impulsive, at an age where saving face mattered most, so many people in the company watched Qin Xiao, showing expressions of disdain, pity, sympathy, and more. It severely wounded Qin Xiao's self-esteem. After being scolded by Qin Tian once again, Qin Xiao directly picked up the glass nameplate on the table and struck Qin Tian several times with it. Qin Tian's leg was bleeding profusely as he stared in disbelief at the child he had devoted all his efforts to raising. Restrained by others, Qin Xiao gasped for breath and screamed hysterically. I said I didn't want to come. Why did you force me? Do you want me to die? Since you don't like me anyway, just beat me to death. Li Qian, who had come to deliver lunch, heard the commotion and rushed over in a panic to cover Qin Xiao's mouth. Stop talking. Are you trying to anger your father to death? Brother Qin, Xiao Xiao is still a child, don't take it to heart. Qin Tian was physically and emotionally hurt. But what chilled him even more was that Li Qian didn't first show concern for his injuries, but instead worried about what he might do to Qin Xiao. Qin Xiao did not appreciate Li Qian's kindness and pushed her away, then began to hit and kick her. Why are you pretending to be nice here? It's all your fault. Why don't you just die? I was in the next office and heard the entire process with my own ears. I only rushed in anxiously after they had almost finished causing a scene. Stop fighting. Let's get Qin Tian to the hospital first. Qin Xiao has been raised by me to be too weak. He looks strong but actually has little strength. Qin Tian has a mild concussion, but it's nothing serious. The doctor said he just needs to rest. After examining him, the doctor also checked Li Qian and prescribed some medicated wine to promote blood circulation and remove stasis. After everyone else had left, Qin Tian called out to me, "Come here." I walked over, and Qin Tian suddenly reached out, grabbed my neck. His gaze sinister. Jiang Wani, you've been reborn too, haven't you? You deliberately raised Qin Xiao to be like this. Now that you see us in such a mess, you're quite pleased. Aren't you? I cannot admit it. I'm not confident I can completely take him down yet. And right now, he only has suspicions without any evidence. Qin Tian is so strong. It feels like I'm really about to be strangled by him. I'm almost suffocating. A young man's voice came from outside. Is this President Qin's hospital room? This bracelet was blessed by President Jiang for President Qin at Putuo Temple to ensure safety, and it has been kept in the temple for consecration. I heard that President Qin was injured, so I hurriedly brought it back from the temple. Please deliver this to President Qin and wish him a speedy recovery. Upon hearing this, Qin Tian was momentarily dazed before finally letting go. I fell to the ground coughing for a while before I had the strength to get angry. Qin Tian, are you crazy? What rebirth? What revenge? Are you dreaming? Seeing my reaction, Qin Tian muttered to himself, could it be because of that? I pretended to look at him with fear and confusion, acting as if I didn't understand what he was saying. He seemed to have convinced himself. Wani, I'm sorry, I just lost my mind for a moment. I didn't mean it. I fought back tears and pushed him away forcefully. He called the person outside the door in, and a young girl hurried over, holding an ornate box in her hands. Qin Tian asked, you said this is what President Jiang obtained for me. Things at Putuo Temple are not easily obtained. It's not something you can get just by spending money. It depends on whether you have a connection, and also on your sincerity. To put it plainly, it requires deep reverence and devotion. President Qin. President Jiang had to prostrate himself 3 times and bow 9 times all the way from the foot of Putuo Mountain to Putuo Temple just to obtain this bracelet. As he spoke, the man glanced at him with envy before handing the brocade box to Qin Tian. Qin Tian looked at me with a guilty expression. I'm sorry, Wani, it's all my fault. I am a young lady from a wealthy family, and I cannot tolerate the slightest disrespect. Ignoring Qin Tian's attempts to stop and apologize, I stormed home in anger, packed some things, and returned to the Jiang family. I've been wanting to go home for a while now. After putting in so much effort to collect the information, it can finally be put to good use. Moreover, Qin Tian is now suspicious of me, so it's better to resolve this early. As Qin Tian's business has grown, his courage has also increased. It's not impossible that he might try to eliminate me later. Afterward, we just need to fabricate evidence and come up with an excuse. I handed over all the evidence I collected of Qin Tian's illegal activities in business competition over the years to my brother, and I also sent all the company's contracts to him. Qin Tian came to my house, begging me to go back. At 1001 hash, my parents scolded him harshly, and I put on airs for a few days before reluctantly agreeing to return. Because of Qin Xiao's matter, Qin Tian and Li Qian had a falling out and often argued. The previous sweetness was gone, and it seemed that the new secretary in Qin Tian's office had a bit of a crush on him. That day, Aunt Zhong suddenly ran to me and said, "Madam, it's bad. President Qin has taken a Huai away." When I rushed to the basement, Qin Tian was sitting majestically on the sofa. Zhong Huai was tied up and forced to kneel on the ground, his face covered in injuries. Seeing me arrive, Qin Tian sneered, "Wani, you got here quite quickly. It seems you have plenty of people, huh?" I sat down on the sofa beside me. At home, I'm the lady of the house, and at the company, I'm the vice president. Is it really that strange for me to have a few people under me? Then I asked him, "Zhong Huai is one of my people. What mistake has he made that you need to arrest him?" Qin Tian sneered. "Zhong Huai comes from an ordinary family, with a father who needs to spend 700,000 every 3 months on special medication. How is he still living so comfortably now?" I only found out after investigating that it turns out Wani is the one supporting their family financially. I'm curious, why are you so good to their family? Was it Zhong Huai who gave you the bracelet at the hospital that day? I met Qin Tian's gaze without a trace of fear and said, "Of course. It's because Zhong Huai has done me a favor." Ha 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 ha. The smile on Qin Tian's face faded. "So you knew he was also reborn?" He looked at me with a sinister gaze. "It must have been quite exhausting, playing such a grand game of chess, wasn't it?" I leisurely adjusted my cuffs and said calmly, Not really, it wasn't as exhausting as the painstaking effort I put into teaching Qin Xiao to become successful in my previous life. Qin Tian waved his hand and had someone escort Zhong Huai out. There are cameras everywhere in the house, and that new secretary at the company is your person too, right? She's already handed over all those documents to you. Hasn't she, Jiang Guani? Who did you give the things to? Did you hand them over, or did you give them to the Jiang family? He pressed down hard on my shoulders, his eyes filled with murderous intent. Speak, who did you give them to? I smiled gently, but my words were sharp. Guess who I gave them to? Your competitors. The Jiang family, and the relevant authorities. Qin Tian was so enraged that he suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood, convulsed, and collapsed to the ground. I wrinkled my nose in disgust. My favorite dress, everything Qin Tian eats and drinks every day is poisoned. The instigator was quickly found. Qin Xiao looked at the paralyzed Qin Tian with an indifferent expression. They all say I'm useless, that you and Mom should have another child. If the main account is ruined, you can only train a new one. But I thought, as long as you die, the company can only be mine. Qin Tian couldn't move an inch. He was so angry his eyes widened and his voice trembled. You unfilial son, I'm going to kill you. Li Qian suddenly rushed out from nowhere, tightly hugging Qin Xiao, and tearfully exclaimed, How can you say that? Qin Tian did it to help you succeed. He exhausted all his efforts to nurture you. You need to understand that spoiling a child is like killing them. That wretched Jiang Guani just wants to ruin you. Qin Xiao pushed her away. Get away from me. He almost beat me to death. And you still say it's for my own good. I smiled and had the mother and son taken away. President Qin is in no condition to go to work. Help him request leave. If HR has questions, just tell them the truth. Zhong Huai added from the side. Understood. President Qin was poisoned by his illegitimate son and is now bedridden. Qin Tian glared angrily at Zhong Huai. Don't. What are you afraid of? Afraid others will find out you have a 14-year-old illegitimate child? Or afraid that Qin Xiao's future will be completely ruined? I leaned down and patted his face, continuing to twist the knife. What a pity. You've thought of everything for him. But he doesn't appreciate it and has wasted all your efforts. How does it feel to be hurt by the person you love the most? Qin Tian's face was contorted with bulging veins. You bitch. This poison was originally prepared by Qin Tian for me. After taking it, the entire body becomes paralyzed and unable to recover. Fortunately, Zhong Huai detected it in advance. He and I worked together to switch it out, delivering the poison seamlessly into Qin Xiao's hands. Li Qian is locked in the basement by me, and no one is allowed to see her except for occasionally delivering meals. Qin Xiao was terrified by me, kneeling and begging. Mom, I am your son. Please don't hurt me. I smiled and had him sent to the mental hospital I went to in my previous life, instructing the hospital staff to take good care of my husband's illegitimate child. Qin Xiao's household registration is under our family, and Qin Tian is now bedridden and paralyzed. Everyone knows that it was Qin Xiao who poisoned him. I sent him to a mental hospital, and no one stopped me. After a while, because Qin Tian and Qin Xiao encountered incidents one after another, Qin Xiao's biological mother, the woman Qin Tian truly loved, went insane and lost her mind. She stabbed me with a knife. But luckily I reacted quickly and only suffered a minor injury. After calling the police, Li Qian's lawyer claimed that Li Qian was mentally unstable and had no capacity for intentional action when she attacked me. The court found her not guilty. This is exactly what I wanted. Li Qian was also sent to that mental hospital. In the hospital, Li Qian saw Qin Xiao, who appeared dazed and foolish, drooling at the corner of his mouth with a vacant look in his eyes. Truly insane. I arranged the best medical equipment at home for Qin Tian, hired the best caregiver, and brought him back home. I have installed 4 monitors in the room, each connected to the surveillance system of the psychiatric hospital every day. This way, Qin Tian can see his beloved woman and son every day. Qin Tian's trusted aides in the company come to visit him every day, and I don't refuse them. I just give Qin Tian a shot of sedative before they arrive. I have finally announced that I officially recognize Zhong Huai as my adopted son. A few months later, the hospital suddenly called me and said Qin Xiao had escaped. When I saw him again, he was standing across the street, staring at me intently. Looking into his eyes, I knew he had also returned. It's good that he's back, otherwise this revenge wouldn't be satisfying. He walked up to me and called out, "Mom, long time no see." As the heir to the company, his demeanor was completely different from before. Every step he took carried an imposing aura. He stood before me and said, "You refused to teach me, deliberately raised me to be useless, and caused my family to fall apart. Are you happy now? Feeling pretty proud of yourself, aren't you? If it weren't for being reborn, you wouldn't stand a chance against me. You bitch." I watched as his eyes filled with bloodshot rage, looking as if he wanted to devour someone. Smiling, she said, "In my past life, I didn't ruin you, but I ended up dying a miserable death. In this life, I did ruin you. Look how well I'm doing now. My complexion is full and rosy, and my attire is understated yet luxurious." Qin Xiao's eyes were filled with startling hatred. I added, "If you had treated me well in your past life, and in this life I've been sincere with you, isn't this just you bringing trouble upon yourself? You were the top scorer in the college entrance exam in your past life, yet all you learned in the end was to repay kindness with enmity. Since you can't understand the books, you might as well stop reading. I've already shown you mercy by letting you live. How dare you criticize me?" Qin Xiao roared and lunged at me, a sharp knife in his hand. Unfortunately, by the time I received the hospital's notification, I had long been prepared. The bodyguard I hired swiftly and cleanly pinned Qin Xiao to the ground. "Good son, since you've returned, the suffering I endured in my previous life should now be your turn to experience." I patted his flushed face. I sent Qin Xiao back to the mental hospital again, to prevent him from escaping once more. The hospital administered electroshock therapy to him immediately upon his return. Watching his trembling body, his terrified eyes, and the dampness that had already spread down his pant leg, I smiled with genuine sincerity. After returning, I told Qin Tian the news that Qin Xiao had also come back. Qin Tian hated me to the core, but all he could do was watch Qin Xiao crying in the surveillance footage, powerless to do anything. How wonderful, those who deserved punishment have been punished. I watched the interview with Zhong Huai, the rising star in the business world, on television. Those who deserved good fortune have also received it. That concludes today's story. If you've listened this far, please leave a comment saying happy every day to wish everyone happiness every day.